Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our 2019 Regional Bowling, our pre-competition webinar. This is Zach Cintron. I'm going to walk you through what you need to know for the upcoming regional bowling competitions this weekend, and we will get you guys all squared away before the competition starts. Tonight, we'll hit the locations and assignments, the schedule, registration, rules reminders, support services, administration, and advancement to state finals. Again, if you are joining us for the first time or returning to us on a webinar, just a reminder that to ask a question, you can either type a question in to the question field in the GoToWebinar system, or you can raise your hand and I will open the line for you to ask your question. More than likely, we will take questions towards the end in a more Q&A session style. If you type in a question and it does seem relevant to the topic that we've hit on, I will try to catch it then. If not, I will circle back at the end. So again, we will move forward and we will start with locations. Everything is pretty much the same. Again, the bigger change this year is we're going from Glen Burnie to Crofton. The teams that are bowling at each site have not changed for the locations. Again, only Crofton has changed location-wise, and you can see on the bottom left-hand side the address for that for the Crofton Bowling Center. If you are in need or have an issue morning of, you see the phone numbers for your facility contacts that you can touch base with in the morning. If for some reason, sometimes if people are taking a bus and the bus has an issue, breaks down, whatever, that's a great reason to call your facility contact, give them a heads up that you're going to be running a little bit behind. Again, ideally, we would like everybody on time so we can check in, handle scratches, opening ceremonies, and the like. But if something does come up, please call your facility leader, and I will also have my phone number posted. Most of you have gotten an email from me at some point, and my cell phone number is on there. If something pops up, feel free to reach out. So the schedule for the day, again, it's pretty usual for the regional bowling competitions. We're sticking to the same thing. Delegation registration from 9 to 9:45. Please have your head coaches only come and check in at the check-in table. Locations for check-in for Gaithersburg will be in the side room where it typically is down the left side of the venue. Crofton, Frederick, and Ellicott City will be right in the lobby as you walk in. You'll be able to pick up your delegation packets, which will have everything that you need for the day. And like I mentioned earlier, and I will mention several times throughout the webinar, please report scratches as soon as you have them. As soon as you get the scratches to us, that allows us to update the facility so that they can update scratches in the computers, because we can't really get bowling until everybody's taken out that needs to be taken out, because it causes too many issues with pace of play there. Again, then 10 o'clock, we're going to hit an opening ceremony. We're going to try to hit it right at 10 o'clock. So at 10:15, 10:20-ish, we can have some warm-ups. And then right at 10:25, 10:30-ish, we're going to get the ball rolling. Everybody will start competition. They'll bowl their 3 games. Again, competition scheduled to roughly end around 1. Again, it depends on how proficiently and how quickly your bowlers bowl. And get through the 3 games. We are going to try to get awards rolling as soon as divisions start to finish. We typically wait for 2 or 3 to finish to begin rolling them. And then awards presentations happen, like I said, right as competition ends. So for registration, final registration lists will go out. They have actually been sent out. You should have gotten them last night. You would have gotten final delegation list and the lane list, so you can have a little bit better of a layout for the facility to see where your bowlers are bowling, get a little bit of a game plan ahead of time. So no need to wait till Thursday. They have already gone out. If you have not gotten them, one, check with your area leadership or your sports coordinator. They got a copy of them. And if they said they didn't happen to get one, feel free to reach out to me and I will set you up with another copy. Again, generally, lane assignments will either match their division number or will be one off. there is a case here or there that you may have an athlete that's in Division 3 and they're bowling in lane 4. Again, we bowl league style, so the lanes will be swapping back and forth. And every now and then we did move somebody from a larger division into the lane next door if it was a smaller division to keep pace of play on track. Lane assignments may change the morning of based on scratches. More likely, the only reason a lane assignment will change is if there's an equipment issue. If a lane goes down, if a computer goes down, we will move you. Again, we hope that isn't the case, so you can show up and just bowl away. But just to give you a heads up, there is a chance that could happen. Most of our venues are very well taken care of, but sometimes mechanical issues happen, computer issues happen. We see it, in our day-to-day lives, so just prepare for that. Again, individual competitors will not check in at a check-in. They will check in with the head coach, so be sure to inform your competitors and family members of this. We did have our family webinar on the 30th of October where we mentioned this, that families will be looking to you as coaches to find out where to check in. So I would suggest if you have a Saturday practice or a Saturday get-together prior to competition, pass out that information, set a point in the venue where you guys will connect, or send out an email to families and other coaches to let them know. Again, if somebody does come up and ask where they're supposed to check in or where their team is, we will do our best to direct them to you. But if you can give that information ahead of time, we will be in much better shape. Continuation on registration here. Each competitor will have a name tag similar to the one above. They're a label, so they just stick on, nice and easy, no hanging credentials needed. Again, coaches, please provide your list of scratches to delegation registration, which will be your venue leaders that you saw at the beginning of the webinar, no later than 9:45, because then at 9:45, they can work on getting the scratches transposed onto another sheet for the facility, which means the facility then has anywhere from 20 to 25 minutes, hopefully then, to update the changes by the end of opening ceremonies. And then hopefully that's done and practice can start and we can just keep rolling along. Bowling events, most of you know this at this point. Again, just want to reiterate: singles, traditional doubles, unified doubles. Again, ramp bowlers are divisioned in with other competitors and teams in the same event. Ramp bowlers must be designated as unassisted or assisted. You all did a very good job with that. Assisted ramp bowlers must have a designated bowling assistant provided by the bowlers program. Again, we mentioned that in the pre-competition webinar, that you need to have a registered volunteer as part of your delegation that's been working with that athlete to be on the lanes with them to assist as a ramp assisted volunteer. Again, in the past, every now and then there has been a day of volunteer thrown into that role. We don't think that's fair to your athletes because that volunteer day of isn't going to know how to best work with your athlete and meet their needs and communicate with your athlete. At the end of the day, ramp-assisted bowling is very much about communication, and if they don't have that connection for communication, there can be issues for your bowler. A big reminder, too, areas with a larger number of ramp bowlers should bring some extra ramps. If you can stash away, even if you have a smaller delegation of ramp bowlers, if you can even stash away one extra ramp in your car, that'll help. Most facilities have at least a half dozen to a dozen, but it's always good to have a couple extra just in case we need it, just in case one of the facility ones breaks down, and we have a backup then at that point. Handicap bowling. I feel like there's questions a lot of times from parents on handicap bowling, and I just wanted to give you guys the information to prepare yourselves if they have questions. This sheet that you're seeing here will also be in your delegation packets. It will also be at Family Services / the delegation check-in area in case somebody pops up and has a question about it. But again, it's 100% of that 200 average. The example there is 75 pinfall average from your 15 games prior to regionals. Your handicap's 125 per game, and that will be reflected on the score sheets as well for each of the venues. We pre-calculate the handicap for the 3 games just so there's no confusion there. Again, we apply it to all bowlers regardless of event, ramp, no ramp, doesn't matter. Everybody bowls in a handicap fashion with that league-style bowling. And this has been the process for the past couple years, so it shouldn't be surprising or new to anybody. Again, some people just need some reminders on how the system works for handicapping. based on the scores that they see on the screen as their athletes bowl, which are the scratch scores, the just scores as they are, and then they get awarded, and people tend to be confused sometimes. Again, if you have any questions on this, feel free to reach out to the staff member that is running each facility. We will also have folks that are technical delegates for bowling at each facility, and they are technical delegates for state games as well. Those people are Franco in Ellicott City, Rich Domros in Gaithersburg, Rob Wright in Crofton, and then Ken Falconer in Frederick there. So if you have any questions, they are all extremely bowling knowledgeable folks, and they can help you get up to speed as well. I see a question here from George. George, if you have a question on, actually, I'll open your line. George, you're open. Do you have a question about handicap?
Yeah, but I don't know how to talk to this thing.
Oh, you're good. You're good.
I came through.
Yeah,
anyway, we used to be able to coach if we called the athlete away from the lane and it didn't interfere with the bowling. Is that still true?
That is still true. We were going to hit that at one point. You brought that up. That is true. You are more than welcome to coach athletes. They need to come up to you. You cannot come down to them on the lane. And again, it can't impede the pace of play there. If they're up the bowl and they're waiting on them, they will pass and they will get a 0 pinfall for that if it takes too long. Did that?
This weekend we went into Texas with Dorothy.
I think we're good. We're going to keep moving here. Some rules reminders. We're not going to hit every one of these in detail, but just so you have them. And again, you can re-access this PowerPoint and the recording tomorrow. It'll be up on our coach's resource page. You will be able to see all of them, download the slides, re-watch the webinar if you are interested. Handicap, we just talked about it, the 100% of 200, in place since 2015. Number of games, again, at regionals, everyone's going to bowl 3 games. At states, they'll bowl 3 games. If this isn't something that you've done, it's probably a little too late to prepare them for that. Again, just try to do your best to coach them through the 3 games this weekend. But if someone does move on to states that hasn't had that 3-game experience, definitely get them up to pace and up to speed with the 3 games because that is our standard for competition. Alternating lanes, again, typically bowl in that league setting. They will alternate lanes on a pair of lanes. Members of competing teams, doubles and singles, shall go back and forth and alternate lanes there. At the tournament chair's discretion, if something comes up, they can cancel the altering of lanes for specific lanes if needed. And again, prepare your bowlers and train them to go back and forth on the lanes, even at practices, because then at that point they're prepared for regionals and state games, and they're not surprised when they are asked to switch lanes during competition. Fouls, again, fouls and line violations will be called at regional and states. They'll either be called by an automatic foul detecting device or the tournament official. Again, remind your athletes about that. Ramp bowling and ramp bowling assistance. Again, with the biggest thing with the ramp bowling assistance is that the athlete that needs assistance should be getting assistance, but should still be communicating and doing the vast majority of the bowling. The assistant shouldn't be the one straight up lining up the ramp. The athlete should be communicating, and again, the assistant should be facing towards the athlete, not towards the pins. And at the same time, the athlete should be the one making the movement of pushing the ball to incite the rolling of the ball down the lane. The assistant shouldn't be the one doing that. If the technical delegate or one of our officials deems that the assistant is the primary actor in the actual bowling portion of it, the athlete will be disqualified from competition. That did unfortunately happen at state games last year. But again, we want the athletes experiencing the bowling. We don't want somebody bowling for them. Coaching, George brought it up. Coaches are not permitted on the lane during competition. Coaches can coach from the spectator area, having the athlete come up to them. Again, we don't want coaches just yelling onto the lanes either, because that can be distracting to other bowlers. Please have your athletes walk up to you. And remember that the athlete, if they're up to bowl, they can't hold up the game for being coached. They need to be ready to bowl during their time. And if it's delayed of game for them, they will get a 0 pinfall for that frame. Lane courtesy, I don't think I need to talk about that too much. Again, if a bowler's approaching on the adjoining lane, wait for that bowler to start their approach before you step on their approach. Again, it's about giving each bowler the appropriate environment to bowl their best game. I think a lot of you guys talk about that at your practices, work with your athletes on that, and do a very good job of that. So again, just be courteous, and remind your athletes to do so during competition. Alternates. I didn't see very many alternates this year, and this really relates to a doubles event. If you have a singles athlete that's an alternate for doubles, they can be activated in the morning. Again, I don't think we had very much of a case of this year, but if that is the case and you do need to activate a singles bowler into a doubles team that was an alternate, please talk to the facility lead. They will take care of that at the same time they're taking care of scratches. Attire. This is the big one. Reminders on attire. Appropriate bowling attire is required, and that includes not only the athletes and the unified partners, but again, the ramp-assisted volunteers. We want them to dress as professionally as we ask our athletes to. We want to hold them to the same standard. So again, whatever we talk about here in rules reminders, remind your volunteers that are ramp assistants that they need to meet the same attire as well. If during uniform check an athlete hasn't met the uniform requirement, they will not be allowed to bowl. I know some programs bring extra pairs of pants, extra shirts, and so on and so forth, but do remind your families that it is on them to make sure their athlete is leaving the house in an appropriate attire for bowling. I know a lot of you guys go over that as well, but it's a good reminder for them. I appreciate that you guys do back it up with extra pairs of pants and extra collared shirts and such, but it is a big reminder for them. RA hit it, collared shirts must be worn. Shirts do not have to be tucked in. Last year I was at Glen Burnie, I believe, and there was a rumor that stirred up right before bowling that all shirts had to be tucked in and caused a little bit of a confusion and frenzy. Shirts do not have to be tucked in. Footwear. Again, everybody needs to wear bowling shoes. Bowling shoes is strictly a safety thing. We want to make sure that they're not getting stuck on the lanes, they're sliding as they need to, and they can be protected with the correct footwear. If your athlete has their own bowling shoes, they will be checked by the official doing uniform inspection. At the same time, if they do not have their own shoes, the bowling alleys will provide them no problem. Again, just like any day going out and bowling, go in, check in at the desk, and they will take care of you. As far as headwear goes, no hats or rimless headwear will be permitted. Again, bowling's inside, so we shouldn't need anything to keep sun out of eyes. We should be in good shape there. Slacks and pants. Slacks and pants is typically where we run into an issue. Pants or shorts that are similar to Dockers or slacks and other mix of cotton or synthetic materials are acceptable. The list of inappropriate and not limited to are cutoff shorts, shorts over 3 inches above the kneecap, jeans, sweatpants, exercise pants, leggings, or any sort of spandex such as the bike shorts, boxer shorts, or anything that looks like a boxer short is not appropriate either. And then anything that leaves undergarments to be exposed, even if it is khakis that potentially are ripped in a capacity, we want to make sure that no undergarments are being shown for sure. Again, khaki shorts are fine. I know some people do not like to wear longer pants. They just need to be an acceptable Dockers style, slack style khaki shorts and or dress looking shorts. Again, uniform inspection will happen prior to competition. An official will go down the lanes. They will not line everybody up or anything, but they will take an eye, put it on each lane, and if there's an issue, they will ask that athlete or that coach to resolve that issue. Support services, opening ceremony is going to be a quick ceremony. Again, we're shooting for 10 o'clock with hopefully a 10:15 end time so that you can get a few practice bowls in. And then from there, we will start promptly at 10:30 at the latest. Lunches will not be served for regionals. State games, we offer it, but it is not served for regionals. Competitors can purchase lunch from the snack bar just like families and such. But competition will not be held up for them. We mentioned on the families webinar that feel free to purchase a lunch at the snack bar and even feel free to purchase one for your athlete, but please be prepared to potentially not feed them till after game 3. We're not taking breaks in between games. We're bowling straight through like we typically do. So we did give the parents that heads up. You guys may just want to reiterate that to your families. Late arrivals will be eliminated from competition, except under extreme circumstances. Like I said, if you're a bus or a van or something and there's a breakdown, call the person at your facility, the staff lead at your facility, ASAP, or myself. That is something that will be considered under an extreme circumstance. If somebody woke up late and rolled in late and it's 10:45 and we've started bowling, they will not be permitted to bowl. Again, only competitors and competition personnel, scorekeepers, officials, so on and so forth, are allowed on the lanes. That's safety. That's also so it's not congested down there and the game can progress as needed. Advancement to state finals. There is a lot of stuff on here. I will hit the major portions here. Must compete in the regional tournament here. And then they'll be selected to advance via a draw. Anyone that gets gold or first place at states will move on. And then anybody that gets second place will be put in a drawing for the remainder of the spots. Anyone that isn't drawn from the second place spots will be put on a wait list. As people decline spots, they will be activated, and U.S. head coaches and your area leadership will be notified. The game plan currently is that Tuesday, following regionals, we will do the draw to get the final list. You will then have your final list, and we need a heads up by the 19th to let us know if there is any changes. Question from Rich Domros, which he's 100% correct on. I just realized I didn't update the slide for the date for the coaches webinar for the championship. It is on December 3rd. Again, our state games got pushed back a week this year, so I will update that before it goes out to you. These slides will be updated with that December 3rd date, and you can register just like you did for this webinar. I will send a link again in follow-up emails. Thanks for catching that, Rich. I appreciate it. So that is it on the bowling specific stuff. Again, a lot of you have been to this multiple times. We are not changing anything up really that much except for the Crofton location. Again, if you need help in the morning, please talk to your facility lead. I will be at every facility at some point. I like to travel from one to another to make sure everyone's good, check in with everybody, check in with you coaches, check in with all my facility people. So I will see you at some point of the day and we can always chat. If you have any questions for other sports, again, these are the sports contacts for your sports directors. And from there, we will say thank you, and I will take questions. I know I ran through that pretty quick tonight. Again, you guys know a lot of the routine, and you've experienced it a lot, so I didn't want to reiterate too much. I wanted to get the main points to you that would be helpful for this year of any minor changes like Crofton. Other than that, we are business as usual. I don't see any questions. If anybody does have a question that you do think of, tonight, 5 minutes after the webinar, an hour, whatever, if you think of it in the next day or two, please feel free to reach out. You all have my email address. You have my office number. You have my cell phone number. Reach out to me however you do need to. We will answer whatever questions you may have, and we will see you all on Sunday. Again, I want to thank you guys like I do at the end of every webinar. Without all the stuff that you guys do, from setting up practices, planning your season, facilitating practices, bringing in volunteers, working with the athletes, working with the families, working with the facilities, without you guys doing all that stuff all season long, regionals doesn't come close to happening. States doesn't remotely happen at all, and our athletes don't get a phenomenal experience that you guys provide and we hope to provide at all of our state competitions. Again, I can't thank you all enough, and I'm super excited to see you all on Sunday, and we will have a fantastic time. Everybody enjoy your night, and again, if you have any questions, please feel free to shoot me an email, text, phone call, or whatever, and we will get it taken care of. Thank you, and have a great night.